Hello, and welcome to the Money and Banking Law Podcast with Joe Silvia, brought to you by Duane Morris, an international law firm with roughly 30 offices and 1,000 lawyers all over the world. I'm your host, Joe Silvia. I'm a former Federal Reserve lawyer who represents banks, fintechs, and financial services clients on M&A, payments, and regulatory matters at Duane Morris. I'm also a core member of our banking, fintech, and digital assets and blockchain practices. Now, while we can't provide legal, financial, investment, or tax advice on the podcast, the goal of the Money and Banking Law podcast is to inform and educate clients and friends on fundamental concepts and structure with respect to the banking ecosystem, as well as critical developments in the law and regulation of money and banking. So thanks for joining us today. As always, if you have any questions from any of our podcast episodes, please reach out to me, jsylvia@duanemorris.com. On this episode, we're talking about an international attorney from Pakistan's journey into the U.S. banking regulatory system with Duaa Najam, who is an LL.M candidate for banking and finance law at Boston University. So welcome, Duaa. So grateful for your time. I'd love to start by asking you to give a brief introduction on your background so that our audience can learn a little bit more about you.
Great. Thank you so much, Joe. It's actually great to be here. So I am an international attorney from Pakistan, and I'm currently pursuing my LL.M in the banking and financial area at Boston University School of Law. While I'm also completing a master's degree from University of Edinburgh in tech law, and I have completed my LLB honors from the UK, which has given me a head start in the common law area. Also, currently I'm interning with the Digital Chambers, and I'm also involved with the Boston Bar Association. And I also serve on the panel of Pakistani Young Lawyers Association, working on different projects.
That's a lot of stuff going on for you. I really appreciate the background, and I did notice that you're working with the Digital Chamber, of which Duane Morris is members, and you've got really great relationships with the folks there. So excited to learn a little bit more about that in the future too.
Great.
So let's start at the beginning. You've got such an interesting background. We've connected, we've talked about it, and before when we met at the American Bar Association Banking Law Committee just recently. So can you walk us through your journey and what led you from not only from Pakistan, but also from your background into fintech, digital assets, and the things that you've been working on?
Great. I would love to talk about it. So I remember I did my law school from the UK, as I mentioned, right? So I went from Pakistan and I was like, you know what, I want to be a lawyer. And my dad was like, you want to be a lawyer? Pursuing law and it's like especially as a female back in my country is not very common and not very people aren't very excited about it, but I did it and I wanted to pursue it in the UK, and I made a conscious decision after my 3 years of law school. I made a decision to come back to Pakistan because I wanted to see how the legal and like the legal work works back there as well. And so I started to work with one of the biggest fintech companies back in my country, and I became involved in a project which is the largest cash distribution project and social protection project back in my country. And through this project, the government provides financial support to underprivileged women who actually live in these like remote areas. And payments are like delivered through digital wallets rather than your banks or physical bank branches. So being on ground with these women was like very eye-opening for me. And that made me realize how much I want to go into this area of law is fintech, and banking and tech, and especially, with the amount of reach that this project had, made me super excited about it. And seeing the scale and the amount of impact that it like had, made me realize how much I really want to, go into this field and actually become a lawyer that wants to help these women more and more. Because I see a lot of women like me, they're very underrepresented. And also, for women from those areas, it was easy to communicate to them, being from the same, like the same gender, having the same language. And yeah, so that I feel like if somebody asks me this like amazing question, I always say is that that project was so eye-opening for me, and that made me really want to pursue law and do what I'm doing right now as a young attorney, as a young lawyer. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, we have, as we've talked about,
Yeah,
we have a lot of international clients and perspectives, and especially in our fintech and digital assets group, um, the ability and the just the potential
yeah,
for getting access to financial services to women in Pakistan, folks in Africa, name your underrepresented populations where
yeah,
they just don't have traditional access.
yeah,
It's such a fascinating thing to explore with clients and other kind of payments, money transfers, whatever. It's just really fascinating to explore it. And then obviously coming from the legal perspective is it's a little bit there's the tech side of it, which is like, okay, how do we actually get to these people? But then
yeah,
from the legal perspective, it's like, well, how do we make sure that everybody understands the relationship
mm,
and to a large degree, how do we help some of these underrepresented populations or just populations that have not had traditional financial services access, how do we
yeah,
get them to understand what they're getting access to? And more importantly, how do we get them to trust that that access is what we say it is or what the companies say it is?
yeah.
So that's really fascinating. And so, you know, with all of your international experiences and certainly working with the fintechs and working with the women in Pakistan, you started to go down this road, but I'm curious, like from a personal perspective, how have you kind of seen that development? How has that, for lack of a better description, broadened your horizons? And, how has that changed your perspective on what you want to try and accomplish in places like the UK or the US that you can then transfer back to your home in Pakistan or in other places?
Um, that's a very good question, Joe. Honestly, I would first like to say is that this whole journey of, going from Pakistan, UK, and now here, it's been quite intense. And, me being quite young, I'm not, super experienced, but I'm trying. And every time that I move across these like systems, it really makes me realize how much I've accomplished and how much I need to accomplish more. And sometimes it gets scary. It gets intimidating being sometimes being the only international lawyer, or being the only young, brown girl there. Um, it gets scary, but at the same time, it really makes me realize how much more I need to be doing, to give back to my people and people in this like legal area. Moreover, to answer your question, I really would love from the US legal market, especially, to gain some experience in the banking and tech world. As I told you that like interning with the company that I'm working with right now, I think that is something I really want to focus on is going forward is more towards the intersection of banking and tech. I think that is something that I am looking forward towards and that I'm looking more towards working with. And honestly, especially from the US legal market, I feel like there's so much to do. Like there's so many opportunities. And when you come here, you actually like it's a whole world, And I just got so excited and I just wanted to talk and like, meet people and just, seek advice. I just like realized that there's a whole world out there for me to like learn from and to grow. And um, I make mistakes and I would want to learn from them, and especially from experienced people like you, especially Joe as well. I think that's something that I'm really looking forward to take from the US legal system with me throughout my whole journey is the advice from these experienced lawyers who worked through like different countries all around the world. I think that is so fascinating. And that is something that I really, really look forward to learning more and more.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I think, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but from my perspective, someone like you who's a young person, but from a country and a geographic area of the world where there are not a lot of strong female attorneys that are interested in something like this. Yes, you may be young, but somebody has to do it, right? Somebody has to start, and usually it's when you're young that you start and you branch out and you kind of become a little bit of a pioneer in this area, right?
Yeah.
So I imagine it's difficult, but I appreciate you for doing that and pushing through it. I know it's tough. So, um, the other thing that I keep kind of coming back to in my mind is that, places like where you've studied in the US and London, um, the financial system is so much further down the line and so advanced
Yeah.
that I've got to believe that you also get to see not only what maybe not right now available in places like Pakistan, but you also get to see where maybe there's pieces of the US or the UK system or other systems
Yeah.
that are interesting, but that just don't really work for what the ecosystem looks like in a Pakistan, right? And
Yeah.
so there's going to be things that you can take back to Pakistan with you, but there's going to be a lot of lessons that you learn that are not going to work. But because you know they're not going to work, that helps you on your path, I think,
Yeah.
working with the institutions back home. So that's
Yeah.
really fascinating. How has the experience been practicing between the US and UK, and how's that worked for you?
Um, I would like to sum it up in three words. It's been intense. And there is no sugarcoating that, Joe. But I also feel like it has been incredibly giving. Like I have been rewarded with this experience that I feel like not a lot of people do get to experience that. And constantly being in the middle of these three systems, I feel like I've learned a lot, especially in the legal area. Pursuing my both my LLMs and my bachelor's, and then working in Pakistan. I feel like it's been so overwhelming, but at the same time, I've learned about different work ethics, different ways of law that is being practiced in like all these three different systems. But I feel like at the same time, I know that some people might think that it's like too much or it's like unnecessary or even like a little bit extreme. But I genuinely believe that staying on top of your work and pursuing what you want is super essential in a fast evolving field like banking law and also tech law. And I feel like a lot of mindset, I would like to say that it comes from my mother. She's also very hardworking like I am. And she also broke barriers at a very young age. So I, owe all of my passion and my dreams and all of my reward to her. I also feel like a deep sense of responsibility that comes with these kind of rewards and experiences. I know that I'm privileged to be in these spaces, but I worked hard for it. And also, it really allows me to ground myself and but also be super excited for the future. I feel like I'm so happy that I still get reached out by all these women back at my home. And I always call them and I always tell them, hey, this is possible. You can do it if you want to. And you have to work hard. It's not going to be easy. It's never easy. But, it just makes me more and more excited every day to work towards my dreams and my goals. And I'm so blessed to be like supported by, by the legal community here as well. And you. I think
Yeah.
it's super nice to have people who believe in you and who support you, especially when you're young and you're like starting off. Um, it's harder, but it's nice to have that support and that love around you. So yes, thank you for
Yeah.
the question.
No, that's great. I mean, from my perspective, I just in the few conversations that we've had, I've learned a lot from you.
Thank
And I think you have um, you have a really unique situation in terms of your actual experience on the ground working at a fintech in a foreign country, whatever foreign country, right? But with
Yeah,
your actual experience working on real issues with a fintech in a foreign country, and then adding in a legal component to that is highly unique. And I think I've told you this before. It's
yeah,
very, very unique. Most of us in the legal community that say we're fintech lawyers or digital asset lawyers, most of us started out in law and our practices grew around certain clients or industries or what have you, and or interests. And, you know, for some of us, we've always been either at a regulatory agency or in a law firm and not necessarily in a fintech. And if it's been at a fintech, chances are it's been on the legal side within the fintech and not operations or strictly compliance or payments or any of these other areas. And so to the extent you have that capability already, and then you're adding in the legal component, it's a little bit of a kind of a switcheroo for you, but it's something that again is very, very unique. I commend you for all the work that it takes. I know it's hard work, but you've gotten great tutelage, at least at Boston University. I know that for sure. Um, as you look ahead, what kinds of challenges are you most excited about continuing to explore? Is it the payments? Is it access? What is it for you?
That's a great question. I would say that as I look ahead, and I know we're in this AI age right now, we're slowly moving towards everything that's being digitized. Um, I'm excited to see how tech continues to reshape the banking market, especially here in the US, and not just the US, but also globally. It is still very much, I believe, in a gray area with like many respects, especially around among like policy risks and also I think regulation. And there is some kind of uncertainty, I believe, but that is what makes it so interesting. And I look forward to that. I look forward to see how things play out. Also, I'm eager to navigate the US market, the US banking market, especially the banking law market, if I'm being very specific.
Yeah,
Um, to see opportunities where I can also grow with the like, with the market and, contribute towards, real world banking environments. Um, and amazing mentors like you, Joe, and, platforms like this, have been really important in like opening doors for me. And also, I'm just super excited to see where this takes me. And also, um, this gray area I feel like is so interesting to me that I sometimes question why so many other people don't really want to, invest time and their energy into this. I know everybody wants to go into M&A or other kinds of law, but for me, this is so interesting because I feel like in the next 10 years, everybody's going to be talking about this more and more. So yeah, I feel
yeah.
like that.
I think that's absolutely right. And the sense that I sometimes get, and I guess this is a little self-serving for us, but the sense that I get is that some people don't jump into areas like this in terms of digital assets or
Yeah.
digitization of finance and fintech because it is a gray area.
Yeah.
And when you have that, it's harder. I do a lot of M&A and corporate, you know, transactions, and some can be challenging, but you have very clear checklists most of the time. Most of the time, there's not big surprises. Most
Yeah.
of the time, the statute tells you what needs to be in this agreement or this resolution. There's a roadmap for a lot of that. But a
Exactly.
lot of what we've been working on, and especially what you've been doing on an international level, there is no real roadmap. You're kind of working on it as you're driving down the road.
Exactly.
So it's very fascinating. It's very interesting, but very challenging. So that is kind of lends itself to a lot of folks kind of saying, "Oh, well, I really am interested in it. Maybe I just learn from Dua instead of trying to do exactly what she's doing." Um, so, so last question, where can people connect with you? It's a great story. It's fascinating. I know you're going to be kind of here in the States and looking for opportunities to support others and learn more. So where can people find you?
Great. I would say the best way to connect with me is on LinkedIn. My name is Duaa Najam. It is spelled as Duaa Najam. And I also share my work and my personal blogs on my own website that I just recently built, where I focus on writing stuff from cross-border banking stuff. Also, you can also reach me via my email. That's duanajam@hotmail.com, Duaanajam. And yeah, I think the best way would be LinkedIn. But yeah, that would
Oh,
answer the question.
awesome. I really appreciate that. I appreciate you coming on to talking about your story, talking about your background. Um, I hope that we'll have you on again at some point in the future, and you'll have hopefully more to tell us and more advancement, whether it's here or abroad. But I really appreciate you. I appreciate your time today. For our audience, that's all for us today. Again, if you have any questions, reach out to me or your favorite Dwayne Morris lawyer. Please be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast wherever you do get your podcasts. I appreciate everyone listening in to us. Please stay tuned for new episodes coming out soon as we can produce them with more great guests. But then again, a final thank you to our special guest today, Duaa Najam. So thank you so much, and we look forward to having you back.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much.